Will Smith made a zombie video game. That's it. That's the intro. He made a zombie video game. Let's check it out. Will Smith zombie survival game from Tencent Undon bombs spectacularly. Video is from Young Ye. Links will be in the descriptions, by the way.
So there's a Will Smith video game, apparently. Did anyone else know about this? Because I'm looking around and I feel like nobody...
For anyone who doesn't know Will Smith, he's the guy who has a bald wife and who slapped a 60-year-old man during the awards.
Knew about this, and given Will Smith's celebrity status, and given that he posted a trailer for this on his personal channel, I would have assumed that many people actually knew about this, but nope, it's the first time we're hearing about it, and
I actually saw, and like you know, like I have a Google phone, and whenever I go on the internet, like it always offers me a bunch of articles to read, and I saw an image of Will Smith, like a type of video game. I didn't think it was real. I thought it was like a fake. I thought it was a fake post, so I just didn't check it out. I guess it's real. I guess
the only
it's real.
reason we're even hearing about this game is because the game flopped so hard that it garnered the attention of media outlets who've been reporting on this, and only now are people discovering that this game even existed, which may explain why this game flopped like it did. So first of all, let's check out the trailer.
I just don't understand why celebrities keep trying to make video games the same way. Like, hey man, if you want to make a video game, that's fantastic. If you got the money and the direction, sure. But they keep trying to make video games like movies. It's not the same. It's not the same form of media. You have to broaden your horizons and get an actual game development team to develop a good game. I don't know. Again, this is a lot of assumptions on my part, but I feel like I'm right.
Trailer for this game, it's called Undon, and there's a Will Smith trailer that Will Smith posted on his channel 10 months ago, back in May of 2023. The likes to dislikes ratio already highlights that this is a game that was not particularly enticing, but let's check this out and see what it's all about.
I know what you're thinking. Anybody would kill to have this view. At least that's what I tell myself every day. I mean, every damn day.
Must have been a hell of a paycheck.
You're not dreaming. Here, you're free to go anywhere.
First of all, why is it live action?
It's going overly long, and I'd like to see the game now.
Choice of wheels. Some are more grill 'em.
This whole bit is going overly long, and I'd like to see the game now.
Choice of wheels. Some are more
Completely agree with that. Like, one thing, one of the biggest red flags I see in gaming ever is when it's just cinematics. We have a lot of star power, a lot of Hollywood actors backing the game, things of that nature. Usually when we see that, it's going to be a garbage game, and I feel the same for this. Okay, so I guess there's going to be vehicles that you can unlock as well.
Sometimes you need a little more horsepower. Ah, dope, right?
Yeah, it's rewind time.
One thing, the neighbors kind of suck. They really suck. They do not respect.
I guess they're going for like a Dead Island cheeky kind of trailer.
They'll chew you up and won't spit you out. We survivors.
Bro, I'm not like I haven't even seen gameplay yet, and I'm already tired of watching this. Anyways, let's continue.
Problem with that.
I
We are not your dinner.
can't tell if this is in-engine or CGI, but either way.
Bro, that's why they were using live action, because their in-engine or CGI is garbage.
It does not look great. And there's Will Smith, his
This is Will Smith.
likeness.
For you in Undon.
His likeness is in the game, and he made a whole promotional video
Pre-register
dedicated
now
to this title that would come out not long after the release of this trailer. Undon came out on PC and mobile on June 13th, 2023. You can already see that the reviews are pretty mixed for the time.
This game almost came out a year ago, and I'm hearing about it now? That's wild. And I'm like, I look for gaming content on the regular. I've never heard of this.
That this game's been out, sort of in the 50s as far as percentage is concerned. Even recent reviews are sort of in that range. It is free to play, and for those wondering what the gameplay actually looks like, well, we got some GIFs here highlighting its survival elements as well as its zombie shooter elements. You can build stuff, craft stuff, cook stuff, shoot zombies. It looks fairly generic, to be honest with you. It's definitely...
This looks like PUBG meta survival game, and that was upscaled to be on PC. Like, this looks pretty bad. And like, that's the thing, a lot of, like, I guess developers, they think because they have star power, people are gonna buy their game, people are gonna enjoy the game. And yes, people did buy the game. Well, no, the game is free to play. People did play the game because it's free, but you're not gonna have a game that lasts long if what you're relying on is gonna be star power.
Got that generic mobile game look to it that is also heavily monetized. User reviews kind of already detail how this game is not particularly enticing. People are already joking that the game's budget went into Will Smith's wallet. We'll talk about the game's budget because it's a big part of why this game has flopped so severely in the eyes of the company that published this game, Tencent. But furthermore, apparently the graphics are not...
Did they have another $300 million budget and then couldn't recuperate what they made?
Satisfactory. The story isn't really there. The controls are especially being panned. This being a mobile game, though it was adapted to PC as a port, apparently just didn't turn out particularly well. It is one of the clunkiest and worst mobile ports I've ever played. The controls are clunky and make very little sense, and it is further detailed here. You can read it for yourself.
So it was made for mobile and then ported to PC, man. God, like... When are developers and investors going to realize that this is a bad idea? To stop pumping money into your garbage mobile game port PCs. Like, just make a good game.
Controls is a big issue, combined with the fact that the overall package is just pretty mediocre all in all. There are a few reviews surrounding this game, like this one from Pocket Tactics that was published 9 months ago, and the verdict was that this game is a 5 out of 10, despite a solid core of zombie killing action and a seriously impressive character creator. Undon finds too many ways to dilute the action into something that struggles to move at an entertaining pace, with overwhelming UI, too many resources to keep track of, and grisly movement mechanics in place. This is one of those, this is one for those who desperately want to replicate the motorcycle riding, zombie killing.
It's a mobile game. Of course, there's going to be a bunch of artificial roadblocks to make the game not necessarily harder, but you have to spend more time grinding in the game because you have a bunch of resources to manage. That's what mobile games do. That's why they're free. They're free because there's so much grinding in it that you're eventually going to pay to move on.
Thrills of Days Gone and a few others. And then here we have another review from Game8.co that gave this game a 46 out of 100. Undon mediocrity reads the subtitle. This review breaks it down by overall story, gameplay, visuals, audio, and value for money. The story is just really basic. The gameplay, apparently this game was marketed as a survival game that offers freedom, but it's anything but. In reality, it's an empty shell of what should be a compelling experience. It has all of the usual trappings of a survival game: hunting, needs, meters, building, and crafting mechanics, but the game's implementation of these elements falls flat. Everything feels too simple and lacks any sort of nuance or depth. The visuals feel very dated. The audio...
So I guess they based the gameplay on Will Smith himself. He used to be, he used to be a great dude, had self-respect, and now he's just a shell of his former self. So I guess there's that. You can take comfort in knowing that the gameplay is a representation of modern day Will Smith.
Oh, well, the English voice acting apparently is decent, but, you know, not much else to it. And then there's the fact that this game is heavily monetized. Undon is a free-to-play game rife with ways to make you part with your money. So it is microtransactions infested. Not at all surprising, given this is a mobile game that was also ported to PC coming from Tencent. On PC, you can see that the player base surrounding this game is pretty minuscule, especially nowadays. The all-time peak for this game sits at roughly 8,500 players, but that was back in June of 2023. Since then, the average player numbers continue to diminish over time. It got a little boost recently.
Still higher than Suicide Squad. It's still higher than Suicide Squad, so there's that.
Maybe because of the fact that people finally discovered this game, but even then, the general sort of discussion surrounding this game is how much it's flopped and how mediocre it is, and a lot of content creators who are making content for this game, they're just kind of highlighting this is all just something of a laughable moment for Tencent as a company, who thought Will Smith's celebrity power would be able to be enough to drive sales surrounding a game that just doesn't stand out from an oversaturated market. And so now we're looking at numbers that are roughly in the triple digits as far as player base is concerned, which for a live service...
Well, it took a year, but people are technically talking about the game, which is generating revenue, and it's a bunch of microtransactions. And I'm willing to bet that any of those concurrent players are definitely putting money into the game. I don't know if they've made profit, but if they have enough people, they could possibly break even. And with people talking about the game now, those chances have gone significantly up.
That doesn't bode well. And once again, the reason we even found out about this game, or many of us found out about this game, was because of the reports surrounding its financial failure that Tencent itself admitted. And this was something that Reuters reported here via this.
Well, that answers my question. Tencent's reported.
Article titled Tencent's Next Level Up, Fewer Big Foreign Franchise Games, More In-House. Here we have an Insider Gaming article that summarizes what went down with this game and what transpired as far as its piss-poor financial performance is concerned.
It's just like, why Will Smith of all people, especially after the embarrassment he put himself through?
First of all, was I the only person who knew about the Will Smith zombie game? Apparently, this editor knew about it way beforehand, but most of us didn't. Even on YouTube, if you go to the Undon trailer that Will Smith posted, the top comment reads, "This is the pit stop for everyone who is just learning that this game exists." So let's check out what Insider Gaming reported here based on information Reuters put out there. So the game had garnered more than 2 million pre-registrations, in part because of Will Smith's promotional boost, but once the game came out, it bombed monumentally, making just $287,000 against a development budget of $140 million.
Okay, I wasn't that far. 300 million, 140 million. It's only a 160 million difference. This is exactly what freaking Spider-Man did. They had a huge budget, and I don't know if they probably did it Spider-Man, but like, you don't need that big of a budget for games, because I'm sure a very big chunk of change went towards paying Will Smith.
Dollars. To say that this game lost money would be an understatement. $287,000, only 0.2% of $140 million. This is not going to even begin to cover the cost of what is a rather substantial budget for a game that does not feel like it's worth $140 million. I wouldn't be surprised if most of that budget had to go to Will Smith and trying to get his star power to try to move the needle on the interest surrounding this game. $140 million, that just makes absolutely no sense when I've seen far better looking, far better playing, and just far more high fidelity and advanced looking games be made for less than that, or for around.
That mobile game has half of the budget of Spider-Man 2. Let that sink in for a second. And Spider-Man 2 had a lot of star power. Had a lot of good actors. They could have made something way better than this garbage that they put out.
This budget. This is like AAA scale money for a game that does not look AAA, other than the star power that they hired. And the development efforts surrounding this game were not paltry. It reads right here that 300 developers were working on this game, which is quite significant, but unfortunately, their efforts weren't enough to really make this game feel like a standout in any way, shape, or form. Visually, narratively, gameplay-wise, it all just looks very dated and just kind of very generic. And so now there's just no traffic as far as concurrent players and daily players are concerned, and no traffic when it comes to social media presence and content creation and streaming.
Well, of course. People don't even like Will Smith anymore. Why would you use Will Smith out of every single Hollywood actor? You would have had a better chance with Samuel L. Jackson. You probably would have done better with Morgan Freeman. Anyone would have been a better idea than freaking Will Smith, especially after all the drama he put himself through. I'm sure people that I've seen the game are like, I'm not playing it just because Will Smith is in it.
And what content creation there is surrounding this game, it's all sort of ridiculing the situation surrounding this game, this situation that Tencent has created for itself. This is a game that failed so spectacularly, and it cost Tencent so much money that when speaking to investors, they said that Undon's failure as a result of it, that's caused Tencent to move away from large-scale standalone games, and now the company is turning its attention towards casual party games and Genshin Impact-like anime RPGs instead. It feels like they're once again just sort of chasing trends. Why not focus on giving developers with a lot of creativity freedom to come up with ideas that set new trends and raise new bars to new levels that
Because giving developers the freedom to make their own decisions comes with a lot of risk. And even though those developers have proven themselves time and time again that they are capable of making a good game, executives and shareholders are never going to actually listen to the developers or listen to the player base. They're always playing catch up. That's the issue. The player base is playing indie games and growing communities and looking towards the future. The executives and the shareholders are looking at their investments in their portfolios grow, and they only see what has happened. They don't see what is currently happening. And instead of allocating resources into pursuing what is going to happen and what's in the works, they instead put all their resources into following trends because, hey, if XYZ struck gold with Genshin Impact, then obviously we're gonna strike gold with a Genshin Impact clone. However, by the time these executives and shareholders make their Genshin Impact game, we've been playing Genshin Impact for the past 10-15 years, and we're no longer interested in playing Genshin Impact. Now we moved on to Wuthering Waves. Now we've moved on to Cyberpunk 2. Now we've moved on to God of War, or the God of Mischief, or something like that. And that's why you keep having these high budget games that feel like they should have come out 5, 7, 10 years ago.
But then others have to chase after, instead of you being the one who's continuously chasing after trends or trying to mimic and copy others and just trying to get a slice of the pie in a saturated market, because that's what Undon feels like. It feels like there's no soul to it. It doesn't feel like somebody had this passion project in mind and just like a really fantastic idea that they couldn't wait to bring out into the world. It just feels like a very corporately developed video game, sort of like a committee came together and asked themselves what gameplay elements would sell and can monetize, and what's trending right now, rather than what's really fun to make and what can we passionately make, something that we can put our own mark on it and say this is a game that we made and it's got our identity in it, and it's something that people will gravitate towards because they feel the creative passion behind it. There's none of that with Undon. And look, there's nothing wrong with like...
Too much risk. Too much risk. That's why. They would rather do something they believe is going to work and fail than take a risk and fail.
Hiring celebrities, if that's what you want to go for, but you got to use them appropriately. You know, when Kojima hired Norman Reedus, like, sure, you can talk about the fact that Kojima seems to hire a lot of celebrities, but all of those actors like pulled in their weight and used their talents and capabilities as actors to bring these characters to life, and it worked. You know, Matt Mikkelsen, Lea Seydoux, you name it. Same thing goes for Cyberpunk 2077. You know, Keanu Reeves really put himself into this project, and it wasn't just like a quick little promotional gig. He had tons of lines, and like this was a role that he really jumped into and really put a lot of himself into. Like, this is a substantial role, and he like dedicated a lot of time voicing and performing this character. Same thing for Idris Elba in the new Cyberpunk expansion, where yes, you know, the fact that Idris Elba is in the game does.
For as much as I did not like the Cyberpunk 2077 game when it came out, because I got it on release, Keanu Reeves was definitely one of the best performances in the game. I didn't really like his character of Silverhand, because I've always seen Keanu Reeves as like a more mild-mannered character, very polite. So I wasn't a huge fan of how he was behaving, but his performance was actually really, really good.
Obviously drive promotion, it does help market the game, but also Idris Elba happens to be a really good actor who played his part really well in that expansion and had a substantial role that he didn't just half-ass for promotional purposes and to make a quick buck. It feels like, you know, like there was genuine artistic interest as far as like collaborating with these actors is concerned, and so that turned out really well. But in this case, it just feels like Will Smith is phoning it in for a quick paycheck, and that wasn't enough to have people ignore the fact that the game overall looked pretty mediocre, and based on reviews, it's looking like it did turn out to be pretty mediocre. And so now the conversation surrounding this game is that
this looks this looks like a Chinese game that we're like, make him look like Will Smith, but let's make sure we don't get sued.
There's this Will Smith game that nobody knew about that flopped epically despite Will Smith's hardcore promotion of it. Scrolling down, plenty of people, you know, are talking about how this is a game that literally no one knew existed until this tweet. And this is a comment that ratioed IGN's reporting about the existence and failure of this Undon video game with Will Smith involved. So fascinating stuff. This game came and went like a fart in the wind, is kind of all I can say about it, I guess. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you need to know about Undon. Not much, but a fascinating...
I am glad I watched this video. I'm not going to be getting Undone, and I'm definitely going to be... I'm going to be subscribing to this dude. This was pretty good. Did you guys know about Undone? Because I had no idea this game was out. Let me know in the comment section down below how you feel. And when you're down there, be sure to like, share, favorite, subscribe, all that good stuff. Before you head out, I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year. Something I literally can't do without you guys. If you don't want to help, well, remember, at the end of the day, I'm just some guy on the internet. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.